What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another week of Goat Talk with your host, Sean Gerhardt, and my usual co-host, the Sam Darnold supporter, as always, Mike Vizzino, and special guest, Jake Rosano. Thank you for joining us, Jake. I'm sorry. We are talking about football today, so Faz usually finds a way to say something dumb about the Jets. So I'm just going to apologize in advance to you for that. But we got Russell Wilson and J.J. Watt, so two NFL topics for you guys tonight. And let's get right into it. I want to start with J.J. Watt. Guys, what do we think about the signing?
He's not as good as he used to be, but, I mean, you're just bolstering up that defense, giving a little more oomph, and, I mean, J.J. Watt's a great locker room presence. You can't be mad at it.
I think for J.J. Watt, at least, for both sides, great signing, but I think Watt got exactly what he wanted. I feel like early on the list of teams that came out were top-tier contenders. The Bills, the Packers were among those top couple of teams. But I think Watt goes to a team where he gets the best of both worlds. He's going to get a little bit more money with Arizona than he probably would have got with one of those other teams. And he's not necessarily going to a top-tier, Super Bowl contender, but he's going to a team that's definitely going to be in contention. He helps that defense out a lot. So I think it's a great signing for both sides.
He's in the most competitive division of football. It's great.
The defenses in that division are insane. That's what I was about to say.
I feel bad for Russell Wilson.
But maybe it's a reason he wants out now.
Maybe. I mean, not only does he have to go against Aaron Donald twice a year, now he has to go against J.J. Watt twice a year.
He's going up against two all-time defensive linemen.
Literally.
Four times a year.
With his offensive line, I mean, God bless him.
Two of the best D linemen of our generation going at this guy 4 times a year with arguably one of the worst offensive lines in football.
And then let's not forget Nick Bosa.
And Nick Bosa, yeah.
Incredible.
I think I'm trying to think, like, what do you guys think is the right word for this? Is it a weird signing? Is it make sense signing?
Unexpected.
Unexpected.
I agree. It makes sense, but it's unexpected. It makes 100% sense to me. I think he goes to an already good defense, makes them 100 times better, goes to a team that is going to be in contention, but unexpected because those reports lingered for a long time. That was Green Bay, Buffalo. I don't remember what the other team was, but there were a couple of teams that throughout the moment he got cut, even a little bit before he got cut, when the rumors started circulating, those were the teams he was linked to throughout the entire process. And also unexpected because how often do you see a free agent tell everybody where he's going? Like, he beat Adam Schefter, which is how it should be because he's the one making the decision. But how often do you see that? It was completely unexpected, completely out of the water, but I'm here for it. I'm excited to watch that team. They're a young up-and-coming team, and they just got a stud of a veteran.
And J.J. Watt, he doesn't seem like the guy who wants a big contract. The way I look at J.J. Watt is a guy who wants to win above everything. So I was kind of shocked he didn't go to like the Packers or the Bills, teams that are ready to contend right now. But he went to the Cardinals, which is still a very good team, a playoff team, fringe playoff team. Got a good contract, which again was expecting, and it's best for both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I like this signing for Watt as a fan of J.J. Watt because I love seeing the news come out of him sending that text to Kyler Murray saying, "I'm doing this because I believe in you." And I know the argument is a championship-ready team. I think Arizona's in that conversation. I really do. They had their ups and downs last season, but they showed really a lot of signs of life. And Kyler's young. Cliff Kingsbury's a new coach in the NFL. I feel like they can only go up from here. And now they're going to have a really solid defense if Watt can stay healthy. And Watt, it also helps Watt's going to be playing for a team he wants to play for. I mean, at this point, no one wants to play for Houston anymore. So I'm excited to watch Arizona, and I think they are a contender. I don't really like to hear that argument of it. I think he made the fine choice if he wants to go chase a ring. Larry's been chasing a ring there for a while, but I think it's a little bit of a different team now for Watt.
I mean, it also doesn't not hurt having the best receiver in football and DeAndre Hopkins on your team as well. That's got to help. And let's all just take a moment for Houston sports. Man, ever since the Astros sold their soul for a World Series, every team has been feeling it.
Yeah.
Talk about going down, like that whole city. It went from the soccer.
They were good Astros, too, all three teams.
Rockets were a win away from the finals. Astros were back-to-back World Series teams. Texans, they were looking good, And then
they were looking like a solid wild card team for the foreseeable future.
Then they got the World Series and sold their soul.
Yeah, the Houston Astros risked the entire city of Houston sports for a World Series title that they cheated to win. But that's besides the point.
That's besides the point.
I mean, you're right. Look at the big names that Houston has lost, and I'm going to lump Deshaun Watson into this because it looks more and more like he's definitely gone. They lost a good portion of that Astros team. They lost in the past 6 months alone. Lost James Harden, J.J. Watt, two of the biggest staples in that city. Their quarterback is probably he's gone. He said he doesn't want to play there. I don't know if that's the retirement route or the trade route, but not a good time to be a Houston sports fan at all.
I could see it being a Le'Veon Bell situation where he doesn't want to play, but the team doesn't want to get rid of him, so he sits out. But I feel like after a while, the Texans are going to go in and then just eventually trade him because they realize they're not getting anything out of him.
And I feel like
he's too good of a player.
Yeah, I feel bad for Watson. Like, he deserves it at this point. And
I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Watson might be the discussion next week on this show. But we had some.
J.J. Watt deserved out too. That man sold his soul to that team, and I feel bad for him because like Watson's still young enough, and I know we'll save it for next week, but Watson's young enough where he could go have a whole career somewhere else.
Yeah.
How much longer does Watt really have of at least being a top tier talent? Like this 2-year contract he's on, that might be it for his, in terms of the peak of his prime. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the Cardinals defense next season.
So we'll see what happens in Arizona, but let's flip things over to a different NFC West team in the Seattle Seahawks. Guys, I never thought I'd see the day that Russell Wilson would ask to be traded from Seattle.
I think we have to blame Pete Carroll because Russ has given all for the team. He brought him to Super Bowls. He's given the team everything, and they have not given him a line to protect him. And now you have 3 of the best defensive ends all in one division, 6 games a year, with that abysmal offensive line, Pete Carroll's sketchy play calling. Like, there's only so much he can do.
I agree. Listen, I'll take it back to when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl. They built a fantastic team around Russell Wilson. Like, that was an all-time roster with the Legion of Boom on defense. They had a great offense. That was the Marshawn Lynch days when he was good. They had a great receiving core. The offensive line wasn't top tier, but they had a good enough offensive line that Wilson was able to play around. They built a great team, and ever since they went to the Super Bowl that year, that team, in my opinion, has plummeted. The roster talent on the team has plummeted, and they try to do splashy moves now to keep the team relevant outside of Russell Wilson. The Jamal Adams trade, for example, they signed what they thought would be a good offensive lineman piece, Russell Okung, a couple of years ago. They've gone out and tried to make big moves, but I mean, they haven't really panned out for that team. So I do like to blame Pete Carroll. I think he's not really a good play caller. He's not what he was when that team was at its peak, but a good portion of blame's got to go on the general management too. I mean, giving up 2 first-round picks and other assets to get Jamal Adams, who I always find a way to bring up the Jets. He was one of the most talented, if not the most talented safety in the league. He's fallen off since he's gone out of that team. He's not what he used to be in New York. I feel like players go to Seattle and kind of fall off a little bit, and do you blame that on the management for the roster that gets put together? Do you blame it on the coaching staff? Is it a little bit of both? But to your point, you're going up against 3 of the best defensive linemen in the league, 3 of the best overall probably defenses in the league once San Fran gets everybody back. So does Russell Wilson really want to, stay in Seattle? I mean, he's one of the, I wouldn't say he's a top 2 talent-wise, but he's one of the 2 or 3 most well-known players at the position in the league, if not overall. So is it time for big market city for him? Or does he just want to get out of not facing, the Goliaths every couple weeks?
Yeah.
Do you not think Wilson's a top 5 quarterback?
No, I do.
Okay. Okay.
No,
just clarifying.
No. He would be like, I don't want to get into this now, but he'd probably be like 3 or 4. My point was that like
I would even debate top 3.
I'd say he's
no 100%.
You can make the argument top 2. I mean,
you can make
I mean, who'd you put over him behind Mahomes? I mean,
Brady.
Probably Rodgers.
Well, Brady too. That's why I said top 5. That's why I feel like he's a safe top 5.
It's so hard. He's definitely top
5.
5.
Yeah.
But it's just there's so good talent in the league right now.
My point was that he is arguably one of the most well-known players in the league, and in terms of big name quarterbacks, he's definitely it's him, Mahomes, and Brady. I think are the top 3, like in terms of like star names.
Yeah.
But is it time for him to leave Seattle sports and go to a bigger city where his name, he could build his brand, build his name recognition? Because that's becoming increasingly important to athletes too. I don't know what the future holds for him, but more than anything else, if he wants to have longevity in his career, he's got to get out of that division, because he's gonna get his behind kicked every couple of weeks in that division.
The teams that he was rumored to go out to really stood out to me. Like, why would you want to go to the Bears? Like, who wants to go to Chicago to play football?
Here's the thing: the Bears have a really good defense, and they've had a really good defense in the last 2 years. I mean, what did they start the year off, like 6-0 last year, just because their defense carrying them? I think Matt Nagy deserves a shot with a different quarterback at the head coach. I don't think Chicago's that far out there.
You think Russell elevates that offense that much, though? I mean, the offense is bad.
I mean, are they though? I kind of do. Their line, maybe. Their line could use work, but they got Darnell Mooney coming up off their good rookie season. I mean, they're going to probably lose Allen Robinson, so they're definitely going to need to fill that hole. But Tariq Cohen is a decent third down running back. Yeah. And why is it the starting running back's name totally
David
out?
Montgomery.
Montgomery finally had a good year last year. He's been down since he got into the league, but he had one of his best years last year. So I don't think the offense is that awful.
I mean,
it definitely needs some pieces. But you have Khalil Mack on the defensive side of the ball that has proven that Chicago's defense has been, I don't know if I'm saying off the top of my head, but top 5 in the league since they've gotten Khalil Mack?
Yes.
For 2-3 years now?
That team looks worse than they actually are because they've had bottom 3 quarterback play in the league.
Pro Bowler Mitch Trubisky, let's not forget.
I think Trubisky gets more disrespect than he should, but again, that's another conversation.
He did make a Pro Bowl. People forget that.
And he wasn't playing. He was actually playing awful for most of the season last year.
Let's time out with the Pro Bowl argument for a second.
He's the MVP.
It's the NFL. Like Kirk Cousins made the Pro Bowl a couple of years ago.
Kirk Cousins put up good numbers that year.
Kirk Cousins put up decent. I mean, Mitch Trubisky is the MVP. People always forget that. Nickelodeon valuable player. People seem to slip down his mind. What other quarterback has that?
I'll say this. I think he elevates Chicago enough to a point where him on Chicago would make them a better team than him on Seattle. And it also fits the script of him going to a team, not New York or LA, but going to a sizable market in Chicago. I would argue Chicago is a bigger sports, city than Seattle is. But I think he makes that team better. I agree with Sean that it might not be like the top option. I don't know what the top option is, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if I'm being honest. But do you guys have any ideas on what that top option?
New Orleans.
It's probably New Orleans, but Jake, I'll let you go first. But my next question was going to be, and I want Jake to start here, is thoughts on the Russell Wilson thing, and then where do we think he's going to go?
I think New Orleans would be the best fit. Now, I don't know what New Orleans would have to give up. I mean, whatever it is, whether they make the money fit, but if you put him on a New Orleans team that has a above-average defense, has Alvin Kamara, has Michael Thomas. I mean, Drew Brees didn't look good this year, so if you replace him with a quarterback that can move out of the pocket and still is a great passer, I mean, that's just a Super Bowl team in my opinion. If they could find a way to keep their core pieces and get him, that's a Super Bowl winning team.
Faz,
I have 3 options.
I swear to God, you know what? Just go.
You know what one of them's going to be, but I have an actual. I have an
what you're going to say? It doesn't make sense.
I have an actual valid reason for it, and do I think
I'm going to tell you why it's not a valid reason when you're done, but continue.
It's my dark horse pick. It's not my 1 or 2. My 1 and 2 are Chicago and New Orleans. For the same reasons that we just explained 100%. My dark horse pick, and I'm saying this right now, I always talk about the Jets. I do not think this will happen, The only reason that I think that it has to be considered a possibility is that out of every team in the league, they arguably have the best trade assets. And if Seattle decides to not send him where he wants to go, they will send him to a team that offers the best assets. And plus, I think Russell Wilson wants to play in a big market. I mean, he's dating a supermodel. He's in commercials and TV shows now. He wants to try to build his own brand.
He's a family guy.
Why not go to the biggest city in the world? If he can't get a job in LA.
He's a family guy. I don't think he really cares about the fame.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a sickening feeling that there's a part of him that does. Do I think he's gonna go to the Jets in all honesty? Absolutely not. I just think that because of the assets that they offer and the fact that they play in a big city, I don't think you can completely and utterly rule it out. That's why it's a dark horse. But the top two, I think, top three really have to be New Orleans, Chicago, and I'll throw Dallas in there too if they don't keep Prescott.
Jets fans really just make me laugh.
I'm going to go through 3 teams here, and each 3 teams have a different definition-wise. And I'm going to get to your Jets, don't worry.
No.
Number 1, what I would like to...
I don't think he's going to go there.
You had your time to talk.
Go ahead,
Silence.
please.
So, where I would like to see him go is Chicago. This is not me saying where I think he's going to go, where his best fit. I think that would be the most interesting. I think he comes into a Chicago offense that's on the rise, and with a young head coach, he would be the primary play caller, which he was complaining about with Pete Carroll. If he goes to a team like New Orleans, he's not going to get that. Sean Payton's not going to let him call his own plays. I just think with Coach Nagy, he may have a better shot at getting what he wants in that factor, because that was one of his complaints with Pete Carroll. The next team I'll touch on is the Jets. Again, this goes back to who their coach is. If Wilson really wants, if that's his main thing, he wants to be calling the plays for his offense. The Jets coach, he's a defensive-minded guy. He can just focus on the defense, and Wilson can focus on the offense with the offense coordinator. So that's why that makes a little sense for me, but I do not think that's going to happen at all, just because I don't think there's any pieces or anything that's going to work out, nor if he wants to play for the cursed Jets. Now, the third team I'm surprised no one mentioned, because I think they're in on the Watson sweepstakes, but the Las Vegas Raiders. Can you not see Russell Wilson playing with John Gruden with the Las Vegas Raiders?
I can't say no.
My only problem with the Raiders is that Gruden, again, is going to want to call those plays. Now, I don't know how lenient he will be with that, but I don't know. I think Raiders have the best chance at landing Wilson. That is who I'm going with as my most, I think who's going to get him is the Raiders. And I think you're going to see Derek Carr and the Seahawks if that happens.
An interesting fit, I just can't see that happening. But, I mean, NFL, crazier things have happened. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins got traded for nothing. So
it also matters what happens with Watson, too, because that plays an effect on where Wilson's going to go. So these two things are going to go hand in hand. I'm interested to see. I'll ask you this as my last question to you guys. Who do you think gets traded first, Watson or Wilson? What if they just swap? They would never do that. But
that would be
poor Russ.
He would never go to the Texans. He would sit.
I'm gonna say Watson goes first, just because he's been the one that's been extremely vocal about not wanting to be there. Let's be honest. What have we really heard from Russell Wilson aside from aside from a couple rumors?
He's requested a trade though. He has.
I thought he hasn't, but he said I'm pretty sure he hasn't, but it's just if he were to get traded, these are the destinations.
That was what I heard.
Yeah, I mean, if you can show me that he has officially requested a trade, I'll change my opinion. I don't think he has.
I will say
I'm like set in stone that he wants out. Like that's how I read that.
I kind of read it that way, but I'm still gonna stick with Watson either way, because Watson's taken it to a level where he's like, I am never playing here again. I'm not putting on this uniform ever again. Wilson, even if he did request a trade, it was kind of like, oh, this is where I would go if anything. But like, I think he'll last there longer. He might even play in Seattle next season for all I know. But I think Watson's gone. I think Watson's gone within a 2-week frame of the draft. 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. I think he's gone around draft time. But it's just because he's been extremely adamant about, I'm not playing here. I don't care. I'm out. Wilson, whatever the rumor or not rumor is, has been less vocal about it. So,
all right. So, I'm gonna say Wilson goes before the draft, and Watson doesn't go until after the draft. I think Houston's just going to be a pain in the tail is the appropriate way to say it, and just not. They're going to do everything they can to try to get him to play again, and he's just not going to be for it. And you're going to get to the end of the season, and then or to the end of this kind of where the beginning of the season starts, and then they're going to have to trade Watson at that point. I'm all in on Wilson getting traded. Like I'm totally bought in that that's going to happen. Now, no matter where, I don't know, but I think that happens actually before Watson. That's probably the unpopular opinion, but the thing with Wilson too is that he's getting old. When you're talking about trade value, but you're talking about a guy who came in the league as a scrambler quarterback and has now turned himself into almost an improviser quarterback where he'll use his mobility to get out of the pocket and throw rather than more. I mean, he still runs, don't get me wrong, but not as much as he used to. And he became one of the best. I'm going to say it, he is the best deep throwing quarterback in the league. And I think that's who would be above him?
We're forgetting about someone named Aaron Rodgers.
I think Wilson's a better deep ball
Mahomes
on deep throws specifically.
Yeah, deep throws specifically. I can't take anyone over Rodgers.
Sean, we've been doing this for a long time, and this takes like a lot for me to say. That was arguably your hottest take.
That was not. That was not the hottest.
That's a freezing cold take.
Sean, there is a 15-minute YouTube video of Aaron Rodgers throwing last-second Hail Mary touchdowns.
That's a Hail Mary.
Hail Marys, I'm not counting, but just overall
deep ball throw.
Hail Mary is a 50-50
all right,
ball, but
top 3 deep ball thrower. Does that make you guys settle down a little bit?
Yeah, that makes me feel better.
I won't argue. I'll argue that point another time, I guess.
Wow,
we don't have enough time.
I don't know why that triggered me so much.
But he is I would put him at number 1. But anyways, he's improvised his game to be that kind of quarterback. So I my value for Russell Wilson's high. So maybe the Giants should go out and trade Danny Dimes for Russell Wilson.
I mean, if we find some way to do that,
I'd be thrilled.
I'd be thrilled, but do I see that happen? Absolutely
okay,
not.
I got one more question before we end tonight, and it's for Jake specifically.
Oh God,
Jake, who's the worst starting quarterback in the league, and why is it Sam Darnold?
If I really think about it, I think we got to give it to the quarterback who statistically has the lowest QBR in the league. I think it's Sam Darnold, He sees ghosts.
Thank you.
People always seem to have excuses for, he can't play in cold weather. Oh, give him a good line. Oh, give him good receivers. He's an NFL quarterback. You make improvisations on the run, and you do it. He has not proven to do that. I'm sorry. He is a terrible quarterback who does not belong in the NFL.
There's a difference between having a subpar coach and not a great team to having Adam Gase and handing the ball to a 37-year-old Frank Gore and throwing.
Frank Gore slander is not allowed. Relax.
I love Frank Gore, but he's 37. I'm sorry that little Giant fans over here, have Saquon Barkley and Golden Tate. I'm sorry, Frank Gore.
No, we don't. They released Golden Tate today.
They did release him. I saw that. That's right.
Some money. Kenny Galladay coming to the team.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Braxton Berrios isn't good enough for everybody.
I'm sorry, Sam Darnold is an incapable quarterback. I mean,
and doesn't look good in shorts.
And doesn't look good in shorts. They didn't even think about that.
He doesn't.
Now you have made your hottest take of all time.
All right, it's not GOAT Talk without a little bit of Sam Darnold slander. So if you guys enjoyed the show tonight, we'll be back next week, Wednesday, with the way the NFL is going. It looks like we'll be rolling with more NFL soap opera drama, what it seems like. Although the NBA throws a kicker in there now and then with some drama. So we'll see. Hey, maybe we'll even touch on baseball eventually. I know we're pretty bad at covering that here on GOAT Talk, but maybe eventually we'll hit a show on baseball. So thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Thank you, Faz, and thank you, Jake, for joining GOAT Talk tonight. Well, not Faz. I don't really thank you for that. Thank you, Jake, for joining GOAT Talk tonight. And we'll be back next week. Guys, you have anything to say? Say goodbye to the people?
Sam Darnold sucks and the Sixers won.
Faz, you're muted, but I'm actually more thrilled that you're muted. I'm just gonna leave it like that. So Sam Darnold's the worst starting quarterback in the NFL, and we will see you guys next week.